The city was still buzzing with life when Adrian, a young millionaire known for his relentless work ethic, decided to come home earlier than usual for the first time in years. For so long, his life had been an endless cycle of meetings, deals, and investments. But that day, something in him longed for quiet. As his car rolled through the familiar streets of his childhood neighborhood, the memories of growing up without luxury but with love resurfaced. He thought about his father, Michael, a janitor who had raised him single-handedly after his mother passed away. Michael never had money, but he gave Adrian everything else: honesty, strength, and the belief that dignity was greater than wealth. Adrian had always admired him, but since becoming a millionaire, he often felt a silent distance between the world of his past and his present life. That night, he was about to witness something that would shake him to his core and remind him of what truly mattered. When Adrian stepped into the modest home he had bought for his father, he expected silence. Instead, he heard soft laughter echoing from the living room. The sound was pure, innocent, almost childlike, and it puzzled him. He walked slowly, peeking around the corner, and his heart stopped. There, on the worn carpet, sat Michael, his aging hands guiding a young girl's frail arms as she tried to move colorful blocks into a small wooden castle. The girl, about 10 years old, was in a wheelchair, her legs unmoving, her smile radiant as she looked at Michael with deep trust. Adrian froze. He had never seen her before. Confusion and shock ran through his mind. His father was a janitor who worked late hours to survive. So what was this secret life, this child who clearly meant so much to him? Michael's eyes lit up every time the girl successfully placed a block. He cheered softly, clapped, and called her his brave little fighter. For a man whose hands had always been rough from mops and buckets, the gentleness with which he touched her was breathtaking. Adrian stepped forward and the sound of his shoes startled them. The girl looked up nervously, but Michael's face broke into a tired smile. "You're home early," he said quietly, as if afraid of what his son might think. Adrian's voice trembled as he asked who the girl was. That's when Michael's eyes clouded with a mix of pain and pride, and he revealed the truth. Her name was Emily, the daughter of one of Michael's late co-workers. Her father had passed away after years of working night shifts, and her mother abandoned her soon after, unable to handle the challenges of raising a disabled child. Michael couldn't bear to see her left in the system, bouncing from one cold institution to another, so he brought her into his home. With his meager janitor's salary, he had been caring for her in secret, feeding her, dressing her, and encouraging her every day to believe she was more than her wheelchair. He never told Adrian, not because he didn't trust him, but because he didn't want to burden his son, who had his own empire to run. He wanted Adrian's success to remain untangled by the weight of his sacrifices. Adrian stood speechless, guilt washing over him like a wave. All the years he had spent chasing wealth, believing he was securing a better life for his father, he hadn't realized that his father was still giving everything he had to others, even when no one was watching. He saw the deep lines of exhaustion on Michael's face, the way his back bent slightly from years of labor, and yet there was a light in his eyes when he looked at Emily that no amount of money could buy, but behind the love was struggle. Michael confessed that there were nights he went hungry to ensure Emily had her meals. He had fought battles with schools to let her in despite her disability, faced countless rejections for financial help, and still worked double shifts to cover her medical needs. Adrian's chest tightened. He realized that his father had been carrying not just his own burdens, but also the heavy weight of another life, and he had done it silently, without ever asking for help. Adrian knelt beside Emily and introduced himself. Her laughter returned when he asked her if he could help build her castle too. The three of them spent that evening stacking blocks, and for the first time in years, Adrian felt something he had lost, the warmth of family untainted by ambition. Later that night, when Emily had fallen asleep in her wheelchair, Adrian sat with his father and told him how proud he was. Tears streamed down both their faces. Adrian vowed he would no longer let his wealth create a distance, but instead use it to support what his father had already built with love. The following weeks brought transformation. Adrian arranged for Emily to get the best medical care, physical therapy, and education. He renovated the house to be fully accessible for her needs. But more importantly, he dedicated time, something money could never replace, to be there, to learn, to love. Emily, who had once been quiet and fearful, blossomed with confidence. She began to draw, to read stories aloud, and to dream. Adrian realized that success wasn't about skyscrapers or bank accounts. It was about the lives you lift along the way. Yet challenges still came. Emily's therapy was painful, and there were moments when she wanted to give up. Michael, with his quiet patience, would hold her hand and remind her that strength wasn't about walking, but about never losing hope. Adrian, who had once thought power was in control, now saw that true power was in compassion. Slowly, Emily began to take small steps with assistance, each one celebrated as if she had conquered the world. The story of their little family spread in the neighborhood. People who once overlooked Michael, the janitor, now admired his unwavering kindness. Adrian's reputation shifted too. He was no longer just a millionaire, but a man who had reconnected with the roots of humanity through his father's example. Together, the three of them became a symbol that love can rewrite any story, no matter how broken it begins. In the end, Adrian realized he hadn't come home early by accident. Life had pulled him back to witness the quiet heroism of the man who raised him. That night changed him forever. He understood that wealth is fleeting, but the legacy of love, sacrifice, and kindness is eternal. And as he watched Emily take another shaky step forward while his father clapped with joy, Adrian knew he had finally found the true meaning of success, not in fortune, but in family, in giving, and in the courage to love selflessly.